I got to be one of the casters slash analyzers for a Ludwig event, which is freaking awesome. And I'm going to talk about it now, kind of how everything started and then how it all ended up going. Because honestly, I have had the opportunity to cast things in real life at TwitchCons, but this one was a little bit different and it was cool. It was really cool. First of all, I got the opportunity through Oliver. He messaged me after TwitchCon Rotterdam and said, "Yo, I really like the way you did this. We have this show going on for MCSR World Championships and we'd love to have you on the desk." And I was like, "Holy moly." Yes. I didn't even think about it. I instantly said yes. I didn't even know if I would be available. I just kind of assumed that I would be and hoped that I would be, and thankfully I was. Now going into this, I actually had no idea if I would even get to talk to Ludwig or just really anything that was going on. Like when I first got messaged that, I just I genuinely had no idea what was going on in the MCSR community. So for a few days, I kind of had to lock in because I started getting a little bit nervous. When I get to do casting for MCC at Twitch Rivals, like that's a little bit easier for me because I literally know MCC like the back of my hand. I have competed in so many Minecraft championships and I have casted it several times before, so it was a little bit easier. But on the speedrunning side of things, I mean, I've speedran and I know terminology and I know routes, but it's not like I'm any good at it. And then of course, going into MCSR World Championships, I didn't really know much of the lore, like anything that happened in the previous playoffs, the winners. And so for a few days, I really had to lock in and I kind of just sat on my computer and I just started watching a bunch of videos or just old VODs of the previous playoffs and just the way that things kind of unfolded in the past. But I started getting a little bit nervous, right? Because at this point, I was told that I was going to be an analyzer and not just a caster. Now, the difference between those is kind of big, right? As a caster, you just have to commentate over the gameplay, which by all means is not any easier, but in terms of being able to kind of do the play-by-play, that is normally what I do for MCC. That is what I am more used to, just kind of explaining what is happening, what is going on, why a player would do a certain thing and maybe the strategies behind that, as opposed to being an analyzer where during these games we have to sit down and watch these games very intently, write down notes of what each player did in their seed, and then try to pinpoint exactly why a player was able to get ahead or get further behind because they did a specific thing differently. Now, of course, like I just said, I was very nervous because I'm just not great at speedrunning. Like I know terminology, I know the way things look, but I'm not the greatest. So when it comes down to saying like, oh, well, this player did this better because of this, like I don't know if I can immediately tie that together in my brain because I'm still learning and I'm still trying to make sense of it myself. With that being said, I wasn't the only analyzer, so shout out to Danny, Fulham, and Emerald because they also clutched up. They were incredible. They were really helpful at giving me notes and stuff throughout all of this, but they were also analyzers, and we were kind of like in this rotation system. Like there were only 3 of us going up to analyze at a time. But also, as an analyzer, we only had a few minutes of stage time. So in reality, we're sitting down and like analyzing these seeds and like really trying to get down to the bottom of why something went a little bit different for another player. But ultimately, we each only get like 1 minute to talk total before we just throw it back to the casters and they go into the next game. So that's kind of what I realized made everything a little bit more difficult, is the timing of things, because I just want to keep yapping about things. I just want to be like, yeah, well, the dragon turned at this time, so that actually made the 0 cycle a little bit different, and yada yada yada. So anyway, that was definitely a little bit of a learning experience and something that I didn't really anticipate for. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, okay? Because, you know, I'm already talking as if like everything has already started. But let's go back to day 0. Let's go back to the day that before rehearsals. Mind you, this event is in LA and I live in San Diego. So I was like, shoot, I'm just gonna drive up. But I made the severe mistake of staying up and editing as much as possible so that I could get a video posted during this weekend. And so I ended up going to LA at like 10 p.m., which meant, because it's like a 2 freaking hour drive, I got there at like midnight. And I'm gonna be honest, guys, I was freaking falling asleep. It was horrendous. It was really bad. I do not advise anyone to ever drive when they're sleepy, but I had to do it because the day after was gonna be rehearsals. Anyway, I got to the hotel, and shout out to Ludwig and his team because they did provide us the hotel, which is very kind of them. And it was a nice hotel. I literally got into my room and I instantly crashed, which was awesome. But then the next best thing is waking up the day after, and because of course all the other casters were in the same hotel, I go down and get some breakfast, and hello, I see freaking Curryway, I see Emerald, I see a bunch of people that I'm just like, holy moly, you guys are humans, like this is cool. So that was really, really exciting. And I don't know, I started getting a little bit nervous at this point about the actual event because I was like, holy moly, like I'm surrounded by genuine pros. It wasn't even just the casters, the actual players were there as well. And I'm like, holy moly, like these guys are just genuinely the best of the best. And I'm just being here like sitting like a fraud. I don't actually think I'm a fraud, by the way. Like I do know some things about speedrunning. I definitely am not like a fraud as in like I don't know anything at all. But you know, when you're sitting next to freaking hacking noises, like yeah, I feel like a freaking fraud. Anyway, fast forward a little bit later into that day, and we're walking to rehearsals, right? Because basically the set was in this theater, and it was really cool because like I mentioned earlier, I've done IRL shows before, but they've always been at a TwitchCon, so it's already like overstimulating in terms of there's already a bajillion people around you and they're all here for the same thing, which is TwitchCon and Minecraft and gaming and all these things. But this is so bizarre because I go to a freaking theater that has a balcony and has all these things and like all the tech and like a real backstage and all these things, and all the people around me are there for one thing and one thing only, which is freaking Minecraft speedrunning, which is wild. Like I said, at TwitchCon, if there's people in backstage, they're there for the freaking League of Legends Twitch rivals and the GeoGuessr Twitch rivals and then the Minecraft Twitch rivals. So there's a lot of people doing a lot of things and they're just there for a job. But here at the MCSR World Championships, every person we saw was there explicitly for speedrunning and Minecraft, which is incredible because at the end of the day, Minecraft is making so many waves in the scene right now. Like, yes, we have the Twitch rivals. Yes, we have the Minecraft lives happening at TwitchCons. And yes, I have a freaking affiliate link for Minecraft, which is bizarre. Like, I am in such a crazy position that I just never realized would even happen. Like growing up thinking like, oh, I want to play Minecraft and I want to make videos and do this and do that. Like I never thought that it would get to the point where we would have an entire theater just for Minecraft speedrunning, which is insane. I can't even begin to believe how other people feel about it, especially someone like Oliver, who literally this is his entire passion project. And I don't know, like it just makes me so proud of the Minecraft community because we've genuinely done this together. Anyway, moving on from there, we start doing rehearsals, and in reality, we didn't really rehearse anything. Like in comparison to the way that I've done other IRL shows, normally we like genuinely run through the show. We like sit down and like do our thing. We just sit down, and there's even like play testers like playing through MCC like behind us so that we can actually like pretend like we're actually casting the real show. They show us all the scenes and everything. For this show, we only went through the run of show, which is basically an Excel sheet that literally shows you line by line what is going to happen and then who is going to talk. Not specifically like if it's me or Fulham talking, but more so if we're at the desk or if it's the casters talking or if it's Ludwig up on stage doing his yapping. So we went through the run of show, and it was honestly, it was pretty straightforward. Like it wasn't anything too crazy. The only thing that did get a little bit confusing, which we noticed later on, is they only wanted 3 people on the desk at a time, and that's me. Like the analyzers were technically the desk, and then Fulham was the host, so like he had to stay on the desk the whole time. But then it was between me, Danny, and Emerald, and we would have to rotate, and figuring that out was a little bit confusing at first, but once we got that like actually written down, we kind of like locked in, and you know, it went a little bit smoothly. But yeah, we just went through the run of show. We looked at the backstage. We saw all the freaking they had like a bajillion computers there. Holy moly. We saw the stage. It was awesome. And then again, going into day one, we just had to make sure we knew knew how we wanted to do the rotating of the desk, but everything went pretty smoothly. Day one was a little bit chaotic because, as you guys know, it was the first half of the day was the FFAs, and when you have so many screens, or when you have so many perspectives up on one screen, it is just genuinely horrifying to even see what is going on. So doing the analyzing for that was pretty rough. Literally, like, I just have notes of just the most obscure things happening because I could only really pay attention to what the casters were saying. So if Curryway was up there saying like, oh yeah, well, Dougal just did this, then I'd like write it down because there were too many POVs to actually see what was going on. Needless to say, after that, once we got into the actual brackets, everything was going a lot smoother, and it was just really cool. And then, you know, day two was super smooth. They were pretty long days, I'm gonna be honest, but you know, it was still going super, super well. And at the end of day two, you know, I didn't stick around too much to like, you know, be in the audience. I actually just kind of went straight to the hotel after the fact because I was so exhausted, and I really thought about napping, but I was like, no, I can't nap. So I literally went back to the theater like 2 hours after the show ended, and Ludwig was still standing at like in front of the stage because he was trying to get pictures and like sign people's things. For 2 hours. He started that before I left, and he was still there after I went back. So then, of course, I got in line because I still hadn't met Ludwig at this point. And I was like, shoot, bro, like, I got to talk to this guy. Like, he's literally been sat in the audience streaming this whole time. And like, you know, I like we were here to help him out with this thing. So I got to meet the guy. I ended up meeting him. He's actually extremely nice. And I could tell he was a little bit drained. I mean, he was standing there. He basically did an impromptu meet and greet for like 2.5 hours, maybe even 3, because I don't know if it kept going after I left. But yeah, that was a lot. And then, yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. I had a lot of fun like hanging out with all the casters and the speedrunners. We went bowling that night. We went to In-N-Out. We went to so many different places and just got to hang out. It was honestly such a pleasant time. And honestly, the main thing that I took away from this entire experience is that I really want to get back into speedrunning. I really do. Which is why I'm happy to say that the background footage of this video is actually me getting a PB. This is like my 4th game since I got back. I genuinely haven't played that many video games in the past 2 weeks because this MCSR World Championship happened, and then like, oh, not even like 3 days later, I had to get ready for VidCon stuff. So I haven't actually had the chance to speedrun, and then I freaking lock in for a few seconds and we get a PB. So spoiler alert that this is a PB, but yeah. Anyway, that's kind of all that I have to say. Shout out Ludwig, shout out Minecraft. Thank you guys for, you know, supporting. If you guys watch the MCSR World community, if you guys watch MCSR, or, you know, whether it's ranked or RSG, whatever it is, as long as you're in the community, shout out to you. And hey, maybe I can lock in and run it back next year, and I can actually like really know what I'm talking about.